Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly angel oracle card reading and auto-write for the week beginning April 23rd, 2018. Before we get started, if you would like to get a personal reading with me, that's the only way you're going to get specific information. These weeklies are just to give you a little taste of my style and how I approach things. So if you'd like to get a personal reading, just go to my website, angelsouls444.com, the services page. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, I always leave all that information down below. So let's get into it here. We have healing is in order for all. Defenses have taken over and you are locked away from yourselves. What keeps you separated? Here we go. We're in it now. I'm trying to read my handwriting. Do you take more than your fair share for fear you will not have enough? Do you fear you will not be seen or heard? And see, this is what makes a lot of people, you know, I want to say very guarded or have their walls up, not want to allow new people in. Or have you ever heard somebody say, well, I don't like people until they prove themselves to me? You know, that's somebody who's coming from a big place of pain. And I think every human has experienced pain or trauma or something. And by burying your head in the sand, this is not going to help you. And I've talked about this before, where there are a lot of people out there who think that they are on the spiritual path, but they could not be further from it. You know, they think, well, I surround myself with crystals and I meditate and I do yoga, therefore I am spiritual. Okay, well, I could put yoga pants on and stretch a little bit and be like, oh, I'm so athletic. But I didn't do anything, okay? I didn't actually get down on the floor and hold my, my positions very long. So I'm not going to get stronger, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to be tortured in your healing by reliving all of the bad stuff. But it is a time of honesty. It is a time of looking at ourselves and going, okay, you know what? Is that a trauma response when I behave that way? What sets my belly on fire? Maybe not in a good way. What scares me? What keeps me isolated? Okay? Do I want to disconnect from others for fear that others will take advantage of me? It is that sort of thing. So really looking at how you respond to your life now. Does your life look the way that you want it to? And yes, you can get out there and do your little this, that, and the other to manifest and whatever. You can keep things on the surface, but you'll get surface level feedback from the universe then. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're single and you're like, I'm going to manifest love, I'm going to manifest love, I want love, 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 love. And then somebody shows up and you're like, oh my gosh, you're my soulmate. And again, you guys know how I feel about that. You're my soulmate. And then somebody is mentally convincing themselves that because I did all these meditations, this person showed up, they must be the one. And then they get into that relationship, fast forward 10 years, and they're going through a divorce. And they are traumatized by it, okay? And then they're going to spend years not even looking at how they got into that situation in the first place. So we're talking about deep level discovery. We're talking about being honest with yourself. You don't need to explain it to the world, okay? It can be a very personal journey. All right. Do you fear, wait, were we there? Do you fear you will not be seen or heard? Yes, we read that already. And do you take your journey to be harder than any other? This is an ego thing that they're talking about here. In truth, you are all equal and are of one another. What you see in another is also in you. So anytime you judge somebody, yes, and you don't like how they're behaving, and who doesn't do that, right? We all do that. There is whatever you see in somebody else, that potential is also within you. Oh, and we're going to get the comments on that one. I would never do some of these horrible things that other people have done. Read the book by Debbie Ford, okay? The Dark Side of Light Chasers. It explains it all, okay? It's a good book and I highly recommend. Okay, where were we? It is time for a new approach. Huh? What? I don't know what this says. Oh, a time to be, I gotta work on my handwriting. It's like chicken scratching when I do this. It's like, it's a little crazy. It is a time for a new approach, a time to be what you were always intended to be. Release traumas, release and heal, and be not afraid of what you see. For your true soul is of great beauty. Discovery. So it's a time of discovering the self, some layer, some aspect of yourself. But again, we cannot, you're not going to move forward. None of us are going to move forward until we start admitting some of those deeper truths. As I'm always transparent with you guys, I'm doing this myself. I've been trying to do this at least. And, you know, as this message was coming up, I mean, it's clicking with me too. I'm like, okay, you know what? In all honesty, I do isolate quite a bit because I'm just like, ugh, people just disappoint me all the time, you know, and I feel like I try to have a friendship and I get betrayed, or, you know, you try to date somebody and next thing you know, they're walking away, or, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. We need a strong foundation. And I know in the spiritual community, we love talking about the tribe, right? The tribe. Unfortunately, people have taken that and twisted that meaning a little bit, and so it's become something else. But if you can have God send you some good people, right? Some good friends, some understanding to help you understand yourself and how, because we're not all innocent. See, that's one of the big problems. It's not me, it's everybody else, right? And sometimes we may do that as well. Or like, no, I'm not taking, you know, the accountability for this because I feel like I'm not being heard. I feel like nobody understands or cares about my feelings, so on and so forth, right? So just let this be that week where you start to break open. Give yourself that morning sacred time. Every morning you should wake up and spend at least a few moments just breathing and grounding, and, you know, not in like a mentally contrived way so that you yourself can convince yourself that you're being spiritual, but really, really connect in. And you can talk to your spiritual team. You can talk to God. You can talk to, I'm Team Jesus, but, you know, you guys can talk to Ascended Masters, the angels, you know, whoever, to help you. Make sure it's actual angels of God's love and light, okay? And not interlopers, okay? You know, beings that are trying to pose as angels, and you'll know. And there's paranoia too, because I feel like people are like really trying to find what could go wrong. Look at that, okay? And of course, as always, you guys know I'm that one spiritual intuitive that says, hey, I can help you with the spiritual side, but if you need a therapist, by all means, you know, having a well-rounded recovery program, if that's what you're into, that's perfect. Or if you know, have some sort of mood disorder that's popping up and you need a therapist to help you with that, go do it. Don't be afraid to reach out for help, okay? It's part of your journey. You're supposed to be going through these experiences and learning how to bring yourself out of them, okay? Cool. So let's get on to the cards. All right, as always, I'm sticking with the good decks. So we have the color deck by Anna Segal, the crystal deck by Rochelle Sharman, and let's get into it. Okay, one more shuffle, I think, should do it. Let's get into it. All right, what do we have? Oh, here we go, Skull Sight, peace. Now, this is an important card to have come up because when you connect into peace, and this is hard, okay? This is easier said than done. When you're upset about something, it's really hard to try to find the peaceful solution. And again, it's not, there's a fine line between sidestepping. My little camera just shut off. Forgot to shut it off. There's a fine line between sidestepping and doing the actual deep work. So you'll know when you're sidestepping, when it's just like all coming from your head. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And your whole body's quivering because you know you're not okay and you're about to explode or whatever. Just take a moment. The breath carries a lot of information and it is the life force. So when you feel like your life force is being drained from you, the simplest of circumstances could get you out of a place of peace. If it's aggravating, if people are not communicating with you, if they're victimizing themselves and trying to make you a scapegoat, you know, all these human dynamics that we can have from time to time, you can always stop. You always have the power to connect back into source and to connect back into your peace. And from there, you're going to have a clearer view, clearer understanding. Get it? Okay. Then we have pre-night trust. We were saying before, you know, you need to learn to kind of trust yourself and what you're seeing and not sidestepping, not going, well, if I feel that way, then that's not very spiritual. So I'm going to pretend like that's not happening. This is also learning to trust other people. I was giving my example. So learning that, you know, not every single human being out there is toxic or going through a toxic time. Not everything that you feel is meant to be, I want to say this, trusting your own instincts. What do I mean by that? I think a lot of times we do doubt ourselves because we might see ourselves as damaged or hurt, or, well, I tried to trust my instincts before and I was really off. You know, we all have moments like that. But you're going to be learning how to read yourself, and you're going to learn how to read those instincts. I just recently I have another example. I'm always with the examples, right? I had an opportunity come to me, and I didn't like how I was being treated. I was very excited by the prospect of this opportunity, but then they went away for 2 months and didn't answer my questions, and then expected me to pay to be a part of this. And it just seemed like they kind of want to use me for my contacts. And I was like, normally I would have just ignored my gut instinct, because my mind would have taken over and said, no, this is a great opportunity. You should do this. And I would have forced myself into it. I would have been out a lot of money, and I bet I wouldn't have enjoyed myself. Okay. This time was different. I tuned into my gut. I got into a place of peace. I let everything kind of settle and calm down. And then I was like, nope. That was easy. Okay. The second I just took a breath, and I was just like, I felt it in my body. Nothing about it felt like this was the right time. And I didn't like how I was being treated. So and that's about worthiness too. You know, I'm worth being respected. I am worth not being ignored. I am, you know, so on and so forth. So we can go on and on with that. So starting to trust your instincts on things, not what your brain is trying to make you believe necessarily, but connecting into the intelligence of the heart as well, and listening when you're being prompted, like, hey, it might seem like a good opportunity, but ask more questions. Okay. Check into it a little bit. All right, guys. So the next card we have here is fluorite learning. And fluorite can also be very abundant as well. And if you notice, there's a lot of green going on here. Very heart-centered. Yes. Making the heart center vibrant. And they're saying, again, listening to the intelligence of the heart. But you're learning about yourselves this week, and truly, truly, don't act like you know everything, okay? Even if you're sitting there saying, I'm very advanced, the second you say that, you're not, okay? The second you think you know the mind of the universe, I don't even have words for that one. I don't have words. But, you know, we're not going to understand everything while we're in these human bodies, and what we need to know and understand will come to us. We just have to be active participants when the universe is trying to teach us something, right? Here is another green card. I'm going to hold all of them up here in a second, but this one is chrysotile animals. So this might be, sometimes whenever animals pop up, I think of spirit animals, and I think of messengers being in animals. And they're bringing up my little birds that I have. I have a nest out here on my balcony, and right now there are house finches taking nest out there, and they wake me up every single morning, and I love. They just kind of show up at odd times when I'm thinking about something. That's when they start singing, and I'm like, I change. Like, I feel like the mapping of my brain changes. I may not mentally be able to put into words what the message is. I just know in the moment that I feel like I'm going to be okay. And that's enough for me. I don't need to overanalyze it. So watch for messages coming from animals, animal symbolism. This could be shamanism, but this also is, you know, animals give, especially pets, they give unconditional love, and you can kind of practice your emotional intelligence through animals, right? And being very, very grounded and connected to nature. So let me just hold up this spread to see. It's all about the heart. Look at the colors. And of course, we're still going to pull the color cards, but look at that. That's amazing. So be very, very focused on healing that heart space. Again, not in just like a little contrived kind of way, but do some deep work. Okay. It may not even make sense in the moment, but flow with it. All right. All right, so now let's get a color card. I feel like some of you are going to be asking, does that mean love is coming into my world? Yeah, it could be. It's not going to be who you think, though. You need to get a personal reading. I know a lot of people, if you're working on opening your heart to get a love partner, you know, the way I approach the readings is that we go in deeper into your deeper patterns so that you can work on that to bring in what you want. Okay? Almost dropped the deck, as always. Okay, so this is going to be a very exciting, kind of scattered week despite the work that you're doing, which might be a little painful because when we're talking about trauma release, again, people think that they have to go into the trauma, and I think therapy kind of maybe teaches you that. I don't know for certain, but there's still this scattered kind of playful energy. It's like you're learning how to have fun again. You're learning how to take a lighthearted approach. So there might be some deeper work going on, and then you kind of get into this space of releasing. Okay. All right. So we have pink. Let love in. The number is 4. Okay. So, oops. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So a lot of love this week. Could this be a love partner? Like I said, be careful with that, because a lot of people just, again, they want to jump to conclusions in their head about who is the right person for them. But if you're partnered, this is you working things out with your partner. Make sure you're not projecting. Make sure you're not blaming your partner for everything. You need to take accountability for how you feel and kind of what your experiences are. There is a green stem there too. I don't know. I'm really pulling here. There's more green. Let's pull one more card. Let's just do that. One more card. Okay, as you protect yourself, the number is 36. You protect yourself, I think this card doesn't mean be in fear because danger's on the horizon and you have to protect yourself. I don't think it's that. It's protect yourself from further trauma by addressing what you've been through and learning what you can actually get through. Okay, and I actually did a visualization this morning, and I'll share it with you here. I did a visualization where I asked the angels to come in, okay, and I visualized that I was on a beach with water. You can visualize whatever you want. So I visualized having different versions of myself at different times in my life, from when I was 2 years old all the way up to who I was yesterday. And so there's me at various stages of my life standing there and looking at me. And every time I looked at myself as a child, I remembered what that felt like. And I asked the angels to come in and let there be an angel with every single version of me in that moment in time, right? And then the angels kind of surrounded and healed each version of me, even up until yesterday. And then I kind of watched as they did their thing. And I was just left with me in the present moment. And then I went through a whole cleansing kind of thing, imagining that as I was walking into the ocean, as the water came up, I was being transformed. And you can think of that as like a baptism. If that's what you want, you can ask Jesus to be there again, whoever you want there. But I think that's an important thing to heal like that. If you want to do that kind of visualization, you can sort of piece it out. For me, that was helpful. For you, maybe that doesn't work, and that's fine. You do whatever works for you. But I just thought I would share that in case it was helpful. I know for me, once I came out of that meditation, it wasn't like I tried to contrive in my head that it meant something. I just went with the flow of my existence now, and knowing that, I have a whole life to write. I have a whole life to create, and I'm in a space where I'm free to do that now without being pulled back by something that's still trying to get my attention. Okay? So we're going to leave it there, guys. Have a beautiful week, and I am sending you so much love. Take care.